Alright, now we back officially. What's happening? I'm gonna let y'all trickle in there. Probably only a few of y'all, but you know, it's all love. What's happening? What's happening? The sponsor for today, we got Suja Organic Kombucha Super Greens. Supports immune health. We got some black tea, pineapple juice, ginger juice, spirulina powder, chlorella powder, moringa. Gotta get you some moringa. Oh, matter of fact, let me put you on 1 second. 1 second. This the real sponsors. What's happening with y'all? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening with y'all? Check this out. The Forgotten Foods. I don't know if y'all can see that. The Forgotten Foods Miracle Emerald Greens 10th Power. See that right there? You're going to be able to rewind this and really get the action on him. Get that there. Boom. But go to theforgottenfoods.com. This is Miracle Emerald Greens. It's like the green smoothie stuff. We got, man, it got everything in here. Chlorella, blue-green algae, African moringa, spirulina. We got grape skins, ginseng. We got barley grass, wheatgrass, orange peel, lemon peel, spinach. It's a whole lot of greens. You feel me? Real healthy for the smoothie action. ForgottenFoods.com. If you go there, just tell them your boy, you feel me. Just say you feel me. Maybe get a discount or something like that. I don't know. I'm just messing around. Anyways, thank you guys for tapping in. Let's see who we got there. I seen some people there. Nah, I don't normally do lives. Yeah. Peace, everybody. Shabaka, Ray, Rael Bay, Nina Thompson, the Hebrew brother in there. I can't read that, but what's happening? Shalom, you know what I mean? Cuban, Nasir L, what's happening? Islam, Emmett Phillips, what's happening? Peace. So we got a couple things on the agenda today. First and foremost, Spider-Man. Please go see it. I just checked it out. Oh, check my man featuring my son's little lunch pail. I just seen it today with him and my daughter. Amazing film on so many different levels. It's an amazing family film. If you love comic books, it's an amazing Spider-Man film. It's introducing this whole new character, Spider-Man. Not Peter Parker anymore. His name is Miles Morales. Oh my goodness. What do you know? Oh, you want to get in on the line for a second?
Hey guys.
You gotta relax.
It's Cam Bam in here. And if you want to go see my YouTube channel, go see it in the link below.
Join Kayla's Lifestyles Live.
Go. Come on, man. Go. I'm working here, please.
Okay, I'm on live too.
Okay, please.
Kayla's watching.
Come on,
No,
you guys.
Herself.
Excuse me. You know what I mean? It's the family. But enough, please. One moment though. Kayla.
Yeah.
You finna get in trouble now.
What did I do?
Come on, man. Thank you.
I'll leave you alone.
Anyways, where was we at? Miles Morales is the name of the new Spider-Man. Young melanated brother out of Brooklyn. Oh my goodness. Go, man. Just go see it. You need to support it. Shout out my man Aaron Covington. He had a little, you know what I mean, to do with that thing. Amazing film. A lot of jewels in there. I love the message in it. I don't wanna get no spoilers and none of that. So I won't say too much of what happened, other than it's introducing a new Spider-Man to the world, and it's still, you know, salutes to the old Spider-Mans and Spider-Woman in there. But check it out, amazing film. Now let's get to, you know what I mean, some more stuff for the day. I seen a couple in there. And if you got a question, because I think what I'm going to do with these is kind of just freestyle. I got a couple books that I just had that I've been working out of. This is the raggedy version of the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. And then we got the Quran questions for Moorish Americans. So I'm just dibbling dabbling those. If you guys got any questions, or people, ladies, women, also, if you have any questions, just type it in there. I'm going to try to get to them. One of them that I wanted to start with, though, is just... when it comes to this information, you know what I mean? One of the main things that I try to I do my best to get across is that, you know, this information is not supposed to be some sophisticated, complicated thing to understand. You know what I mean? In the words of Malcolm, you know what I mean? We try to make it plain. It's real simple. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, I feel when people try to complicate it or make it very complex and very hard to grasp and understand, usually not really the people you really want to listen to. You know, one of the biggest things, for example, is nationality. You know what I mean? When it comes to, well, what is our nationality? It's Moorish American. Why? Why is it Moorish American and not whatever? It's because we're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. That's the answer. Some people would say, oh, well, you know, you're not a Moorish American until you go to the temple and you proclaim in front of the grand body and Bazidaba. Well, you're not a Moorish American until you have your official temple ID and you say Islam and all of this in front of the grand. I mean, this is what it says in this simple book, not what I say. I mean, this is not Rami's words. Don't want you to get this confused. There's a difference between information, you know what I mean, facts, evidence, and opinion, my beliefs, how I feel about something. What it says in the book here. What is your nationality? And the answer is in red. It says Moorish American. Then it says, why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. It's simple. Then I would say, well, go look at Morocco. Then when you go look at Morocco and you look into the history of Morocco, you run into Moors. Simple. We're descendants of Moors and born in America. Moorish American. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let me know. Let's see what we're talking about. Islam, a lot of Islams in there. Yeah. So like when you, okay, cool. Shabaka, Samia does. Omar, peace. So that's just like one example. And when you hear, and my thing I often try to tell people is don't just believe what I say. You know what I mean? Don't believe anything that just a Moor tells you just because they rocking affairs, they saying Islam and all praise is due to Allah. And, you know, all of that sounds good. All I ask is you look at what Noble Drew Ali said and then measure it up to what the people are saying, what that individual is telling you. If it measures up, solid. If it doesn't, I personally would lean to what Noble Drew Ali said. Why? He's a prophet. Simple. That's my philosophy. That's the way I operate. Anytime I look at a YouTube thing, I'm like, all right. He said, boom, boom. Oh, matter of fact, I'll tell you a great example. Taj Tariq Bey. I didn't heard this man say doctrine of discovery probably 1,000 times. Doctrine of discovery. You need to look into doctrine of discovery. Doctrine of discovery, blah, 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 blah. I'm on. I ain't looked it up before until like maybe like a month ago or something like that. Just haven't. I'm like, hey, yeah, I hear you, man. Doctrine of discovery. I got it. Whatever. Finally looked into it. Like really dug in deep and did the research for myself. Not just hearing what he's saying. Whew. My goodness. My goodness, man. But see, you don't really know until you see for yourself. You got to look into it for yourself. Don't believe what people are saying. You know what I mean? Because I could have just been believing, yeah, doctrine of discovery is important. Sure, I got it. And I can mention it in conversation and sound like I know what I'm talking about. But now that I really digged in deep into that thing, it's like, whoo, you need to, if you haven't studied the doctrine of discovery, look it up. Go hit them Googles. Doctrine of discovery. Just look it up. I'm not going to tell you what it says. I would love for you to research it for yourself. Look at all of them, all the different, I don't want to give you no hints, but doctrine of discovery and go from there. Let me take a question or two before I get to the text. Indigenous realists, I would indeed be looking up. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. That's on a side note, that's something humbling. Is I don't want anyone to believe me at all, because I'm not really. It's not about beliefs. I like to present you information, then just look it up, see for yourself. That game, and then this other episode, I talked about this game, this Japanese game, and I'll say it again here. I looked into this Japanese game, and the original name was called Reverse Eye. I don't remember when it was originally created, but in 1975, they changed the name, and the name they changed the game into is Othello. I said, what? Oh my goodness. But it's one thing for me to tell you that. It's another thing for you to look it up, type in Reverse Eye, then look it up online and see, wow, they changed it to Othello in reference of Othello the Moor. Oh my goodness. In Japan, they know about Moors. Millions of them. Yes. I'm not making it up, but I don't want you to believe me. Nah. See, because then once you know, now you got to tell somebody. You know what I mean? Now you got the responsibility. You can't act like you don't know once you know. And I think that's why some people try to ignore it. But I'm getting off track anyway. Let me get back to the question. Anybody got a question? Question in the house? Question. I just got a Black's Law 5th edition. Oops. Is that a good law book to study? Yeah. I mean, I think you should get as many as you can. I had a 4th edition, and then and then I have just like a regular, like a little small 12th edition, something like that. But any kind of law dictionary or just dictionary period, I would say get it. You know what I mean? Especially used bookstores, flea markets, hit up Craigslist, see if they have it on there. Get these old dictionaries, because you can start piecing together the truth in the different dictionaries. One definition may reveal, such and such and such and such. And another dictionary will have a missing piece that connects to the. It's a real trip once you start getting into it. At like one point, I only have 1, 2, 3 right now. But at one point, I had like 6 dictionaries. And so I was looking up, if I look up more in one, I look it up in each dictionary, write all the definitions down on the page, and then just study that, you know what I mean, until I really have a good understanding of the word. I I know that's a bit off track from the law dictionary, but it kind of applies. Peace. How do you feel about non-temple Moors? I mean, I don't know what you mean by, like, how do I feel? I guess, what do you mean by that? I should ask that rather than me guess. What do you mean? In what respect? Because that's kind of open. I'll come back to that. We know the Moors are the founders of the works, first religious creed. Can you speak to the true nature of Islam as it relates to the esoteric and moral doctrines abroad? Man, Elias Bay, that's a complicated question, but I do have an answer. Just hold on one moment. Just got to get my notes for you. And then we're going to come back to the temple, to the non-temple Moor question. Here we go. Islam. What is Islam? Islam is a very simple faith. It requires man to recognize his duties towards God Allah, his creator, and his fellow creatures. It teaches the supreme duty of living at peace with one's surroundings. It is preeminently the religion of peace. The very name Islam means peace. The goal of man's life, according to Islam, is peace with everything. Peace with Allah and peace with man. Peace with Allah and peace with man. It's the goal. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, tells us that the final abode of man is the house of peace, where no vain word or sinful discourse will be heard. The holy divine prophet Noble Drew Ali says that a follower of Islam, in the true sense of the word, is one whose hands, tongue, and thoughts do not hurt others. A true follower of Islam, one whose hands, tongue, and thoughts do not harm others. Whew! Well, your thoughts don't harm others. That's when you truly following Islam. So, I mean, I'm reading, and if you didn't know by now, I'm actually reading from the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish literature. It's an excerpt that Drew Ali wrote called What is Islam? When people want to start speaking about Islam and the religious or the spiritual aspect, I always like to come to this first, because I feel like if you get to that root, if you understand what it's saying in the truest sense, then it's like very simple on how to operate, you know, esoteric and all of that. Like, I mean, we could go there. You know what I mean? There's plenty layers, Sufism and the mystic aspect of Islam. It's there, but if you really just want to get to the root core of it, your thoughts, your tongue, and your hands, you know, do no harm to others. Peace with man and peace with Allah. I don't know if that exactly answered the question, but that's the answer I got for you. Let me see what else we got. If we got another question. The bookstore's clerks went pale when I asked them for books about Moors. You should ask them also about books about just the history of Portugal, the history of Spain, Iberia, medieval Spain, the Middle Ages, North Africa, Saracens, the history of Arabs, the history of Muslims, Berbers. You should try to all of those different names if you're looking for books about Moors, because I found, you know, it's kind of hidden. Oh, thank you for that. Actually, I'm gonna check on the questions, but that's the question or the topic that I wanted to speak about is in is in understanding, kind of understanding this concept of us being Moors. And I understand. I don't see no more questions, so I'll get to it. Then we'll come back to it. If you got some more, peace, everybody in there. Hello. Hello, 47, Melanin, Beauty, Bernard, Coop, Charles, who we got else? Damon. Trying to get everybody in here. What's happening? Peace. Tori, Anya. I think that's everybody. So boom, this is what I was thinking about in terms of an analogy and explaining the importance of us understanding the Moorish aspect. When you're speaking to someone that doesn't agree or doesn't believe or doesn't who isn't aware of the importance of Moorish history. Let me just put it like that. The way I put it is, let's say, for an example, we could skip 500 years into the future. And we're talking to the people, and they got this amazing database. You know what I mean? And they say, where are you from? Or, you know, we want to look up your history. What should we look it up under? I would ask the black person, the African-American person, what name would you give them to look up the history of our people? We're 500 years in the future. Would you give them the name Negro? No, because that would only give you a certain aspect of our history. We understand that if we were to only look up Negro, even if we didn't even look 500 years into the future, if we were to look right now and we were to describe to somebody, you need to look up our history. And if they only could look up Negro for history about our people, it would not give a full picture, a full spectrum, a full portrait of who we are. If you did it with just African American, it wouldn't do it. If it was just black, it wouldn't do it. Because they have limiters. It's a limit on those terms. The term Moor, that term specifically connects us to so many different parts of our history in the ancient times. That's the importance. That's the way I try to communicate. This was just an analogy that I was thinking about and I wanted to share, but that's the way I try to explain this. Like, it's not so much that by saying more, we're saying we're erasing everything under quote unquote black history. It's just a correction. It's just this term is a more accurate term and it links us back to all of our history. You know what I mean? For me, I grew up, you know, my auntie went to Egypt when I was 6, 7 years old. And she came back and she had my name on papyrus. And ever since then, I was like really fascinated with Egypt. But I just could never understand, how did our ancestors build all of that and we're here? It just, that part, it couldn't compute. It's like, you know what I mean? Like 1 + 2 = 7. It's like, there's something, wait a minute, is there some more? We need something else there. The Moorish aspect is the connecting link, because if you look back far enough, you see Moorish links you back to Phoenicians, which links you back to ancient Egypt. Oh my goodness, right there. You just gotta peep it.
The Attack of the Clones. I'm about to finish it.
And I'm still working, sir. So I'm gonna need you to go lay down, okay? Please.
Lay down?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And what time is it? What time is it, people? Oh, I see it. Oh, yeah. You got another 5 minutes, man.
5?
Yep, go. Thank you. I done lost track of where I was, so we gonna. Yes. So we gonna check out. We're gonna check out where y'all are. Do you have any questions before I get to? I wanted to talk a little bit about the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. But before I do that and just get to rambling, I wanted to see if there was any more questions. Bro, can you please answer? Oh, right. The non-Temple Moor question. Let me get back to that. My fault, G, my fault. What was the Oh, okay, hold on. I'm rolling up. I'm rolling up, man. Hold on. Give me a second. Am I in contradiction to the prophet by not joining the temple? Is that the question? I'm just making sure that I got it. I think that's the question. Okay, yeah. So the more the rephrased question: am I in contradiction to the prophet by not joining the temple? No. Well, just hit me with the question again, because that's a lot of scrolling, man. Just hit me with the question one more time for me, please. Peace to everybody watching. Hey, have you claimed a home? No, I haven't claimed a home. Moorish Americans are not about claiming homes. That wasn't in any of the Moorish teachings I seen from Noble Ali. That's not what, and that's not what I'm teaching. I mean, I could get into more specifics, but very generally, no. They try to direct you to the African American section. Yeah, man, it's so funny, man. When you start piecing it together, you see the history. It just stops at like the 1500s, and it's just like, well, wait a minute. What about before 1492? What happened before 1492? That's another thing I was thinking about today. It's like Moors. It was these amazing Moorish people that was ruling for 700-800 years. They fall in 1492 and just disappear. And all of a sudden, these Negroes, by the hundreds of thousands and millions, appear. Don't know, nobody claiming where these Negroes came from, saying, yeah, all of the Negroes came from here. There's no nation saying that. And there's nobody saying, nah, we Moors, we still here. Don't y'all find that kind of odd? I'm just, it's some of the things I'll be thinking about, like, man, that just kind of befuddles me, man. Then my Act 6. Yeah. Make it, I get this question. Bruh, if you got the question again, just retype it, man, because I can't really scroll all the way up on that one right now. My last question is, how do you continue to work as a national when they want social numbers and IDs, etc.? I mean, for me personally, I'm speaking for me personally, my goal is to help us wake up. Because all the specifics about how do we do work as a national and, all the particulars, I don't really care about that. I know there's plenty of I know it's thousands of Moors out there, very capable, and just, love to hit that administrative, oh, boom, I got the whole section in codes. We got a whole new Moorish American standard book ready to go for you. I know it's people out there that's more than willing to do that. That's not really my kind of vibe. So my thing is, if I can wake up millions of people, you know what I mean? If I can help do that, the rest will get done. You know what I mean? So my focus is, how about let's get the attention of millions of people around the world and get this corrected. And then we can sort out the particulars after that. You know what I mean? So, when it comes to working, man, I mean, you can go the route of, really studying the laws of the state and your constitution and really making a stand and standing on the laws and saying, this is who I want to represent myself as when I'm going into this job, this, that, and the third. I mean, it really depends on your situation, what job you're trying to get, what state you're in, what you have to risk, what's to gain, you know what I mean, your financial situation, who you got depending on you. I mean, there's a lot of complex, you know what I mean, parts to that. Who's backing you, you know what I mean, who can you depend on? You know, the infrastructure for the temple isn't, to me, where it needs to be. And the reason where it's not where it needs to be is because we don't have a Supreme Grand Council, but no one really wants to address that issue. So we're kind of at a stalemate for me. Again, this is me personally speaking. So that's why, you know, for me, when I say, like, people ask me, how do you do the work? I say, man, do the best you can. You know what I mean? You know, if you want to go to I'm standing on it. You know what I mean? I want to register my name as, you know, this, that, and the third, Moorish American. I got it. I understand that. I also understand people that's like, I'm going to use this, you know, government name, slave name, because this, you know what I mean, is very simple. It get the job done. I don't get no hassles. I can just go about and get my fiat and do what I do with it. I understand both perspectives on it. You know what I mean? Ultimately, I would say that you should create your own business. I think that is the key. If I could say anything, I've been studying a lot lately. Matter of fact, since we into it, man knows not by being told. Let me just go ahead and read you a little piece. Our dollars and cents. The doctrine of economic security is by no means as widespread and intensive among Americans of our group as the circumstances demand, and the more written and said on the subject, the better. We need to more earnestly urge conscientious support of, that's a tough word for me, support of the businessmen and women of our group in their chosen fields of endeavor. The greater the success of their business enterprises, the more open gates of opportunity there will be for our youth of today and tomorrow. And that we need to urge greater cooperation. Man, I don't read Moorish literature, Our Dollars and Cents. Go Google that if you don't know. If you haven't seen it, hit me with an email. IAMHHtemple@gmail.com. Hit me with an email if you just need the information. I'll send you the link. But the gist of that is Noble Drew Ali saying we need to do for ourselves. And if you look into the history, they had their own laundry service. They had their own manufacturing company producing all sorts of products. You know what I mean? We need to be creating our own jobs so that we don't have to even be trying to figure out, well, what name should I put? And it'll be like, no, brother, please come in. Yes, Moorish American, you can wear that fez. Please wear that fez. You know what I mean? I think that's the ultimate goal where we should be thinking, if that answers the question. Some temples think if you're mixed, you have to reincarnate into a full Moor before getting to Allah. Bernard, well, what temples? You know, you're saying some temples. What temples are you talking about? What people are who are saying this? Where's the evidence of this? Let's not. I remember I was listening to, I think it was a Nation of Islam brother, but they were saying they don't like to just go off of what some people say. Or I heard some people say this. Well, no, what people said. You know what I mean? Let's put it on the record so we can identify where this information is coming from and correct it, or understand that it's misinformation and ignore it. That makes sense. Any other questions before I get into it? Oh, peace, Moreno. What's happening? We have too many chiefs and not enough Indian. I don't know about that. We gotta pull our weeds, yeah. Friend of a. All right, peace, Reggie. Okay. I mean, still, you know, Grand Sheiks, I got you, but you know, who are they? That's what I'm saying. And I would just ask them, you know what I mean, those people, I would just ask them simply, where does it say that? Can you show me in the Quran where it says that? That's what I ask people. When I first started studying this stuff and I would hear people say things, I would say, you know, well, where does it say that so I can see for myself? And that's no disrespect to whoever's teaching. It didn't matter who was teaching. Taj, Booker T. Coleman, a.k.a. Professor Kabahaya Kamene, Brother Cujo, Brother Moreno, the Duke of Tears, Sabir, whoever. It didn't matter. I'm looking it up. And if they're not forthcoming with the source, that lets you know something. You don't even have to go no further. Why are you being secretive? That answers itself. You know what I mean? Peace, peace, peace. Yeah, nah, I hear you, Emmett. I understand. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people caught up in that same thing. And the truth of the matter is, if our ancestors and, you know, the Moorish Americans before this generation have really been taking care of business, and by business I literally mean business part, you know, we would be in a much better position or situation where we don't have to figure that out and figure out how do we navigate in this system, because we would have a clear avenue, we would have a clear road. The issue is right now there are very few clear roads, you know what I mean? And so it requires us to start creating some. You know what I mean? That's the ultimate truth, you know what I mean, that I've realized, is that a lot of the things when you ask, it's like, man, why aren't there any? I guess I need to get to work then. You know what I mean? All right, so let me get to this, the mysteries of the silent brotherhood of the East. I don't know. Peace, 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 peace. Before I get to diligent studies, Omar Ali 13. Diligent studies will eliminate confusion. I agree 1,000%. You know what I mean? That's, if you notice in some of my videos, or I try to do my best to say it in every video, don't believe me, look it up. Don't believe me, look it up. You know what I mean? Like, because I know the reason I say it is because I was in the position that a lot of people email me in. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get this real quick. Oh yeah, we still live. Oh wait. I was in a position where I was like, man, where is the answer? And then I would hear Roz Mariah and all the Moors, they would just always be like, study, study, study. I'd be like, God, I don't want to study. Just tell me the answer. You know what I mean? Like, it frustrated me until and I looked up the word blackamoor in a dictionary, and I said, well, God, it say it right there. You know what I mean? And then I started to understand you have to do the work yourself. People can tell you over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, but until you do it, it ain't gonna matter as much. It's not gonna really click. It's not gonna really just be like in there. That's how I can, you know, talk about some of these things without preparing or having any notes with me. It's because I literally would get a notebook out and I would write down, who am I? And I would write down the name that I was given, and then I would write down, you know, who am I really? My Moorish name, and then why? And I literally go through this process, and you know, how, okay, someone says prove you're a Moor. How you gonna prove it? You know what I mean? Show some evidence outside of Noble Drew Ali. You say you know, well then prove it. And then I would have to, all right, well, let me look. Okay, I can, okay, oh, and that's how you learn it. So diligent study, man, it eliminates so much confusion. And you can't get finessed, you know what I mean? You can't get played, you can't get tricked. People can't talk and manipulate you out of something. You know what I mean? Because you'll be listening. You'll be very keen to what people are saying and say, I heard that. You thought you were slick by saying Saracen, but I know what that means. You know what I mean? But let me get back to what I was getting back to. The mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. This book is the higher degrees for the Circle 7. This book, the way I try to break it down to people is like, I don't have the Holy Quran with me, but the Holy Quran is like the foundational book. You know what I mean? That is the main book that you need. This book here is like, once you have studied that Quran well, I mean, you done been through that thing back and forth quite a few times. You understand the stories pretty well. This one is like it's not even a different book. It's just like a bonus pack. It's like a downloadable pack on the video games. That's what it's like. You know what I mean? With like a bunch of bonus levels and new clothing and gear. You know what I mean? Like that's really what it is, because some of the information weaves into the Quran and it's repeating information. Some of it is new. You know what I mean? And some of it expands on the story a bit. And you know, so it's not its own book per se. You know what I mean? But that's why you should study the Quran Circle 7 first before you even get to this, because if you try to study this and then go to the other one, it may confuse you a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole lot going on. But this one, it has this story about when Jesus was like a little boy, 6, 7. It talks about when Jesus goes to the temple and talks to these rabbis. It talks about meditation. It talks about the different tests that Jesus had put through. And it also calls Jesus Yehoshua, which was another name for Jesus, or Yeshua, or Yeshua, excuse me. I'm trying to think of offhand what is in there without looking. But it has a different test that Jesus would go through to get certain degrees of knowledge, and he would be put through certain tests. And you know, even the test itself is just very layered with a lot of wisdom. The one thing I will say that I found very interesting, that one of the hardest tests that Jesus had to get past was the test of a beautiful woman playing a harp. I think it's a harp. Let me look it up real quick. Let's see real quick. But I found that real funny, man. Like the other test, he doing his thing. He slide and glide through. This test, he kind of deep run into a woman. It's just like, oh man, I'm kicking it, man. I'll get back to y'all in a minute. You know what I mean? And then he finally realized what's happening. Like, oh man, I gotta do what I gotta do. And he keep on keeping on. I thought that was really funny, man. All right here. Let me see. What is she? Let me read a little bit of this. Yeah, she found her place beside the harpsichord. She touched the chords most gently, and she sang the songs of Israel. So she could sing. She was playing the harp. Beautiful lady, Yehoshua, Jesus, easy. He was like, oh man, this shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have a thing. Beautiful women that can sing, man. It kind of stuck. You know what I mean? Shout out to Teacher Moses, man. You feel me? You feel. Let me get back to him. But let me read what I was trying to read. Let me see what it said. It said, boom. Her touch thrilled all his soul, and for a time forgot the work that he was sent to do. This is Yahshua. He forgot. My man Yahshua was supposed to be doing some work. Got so caught up, he forgot what he was supposed to be doing. I tell you, man. I tell you. We try, and hey, listen. I'm not trying to blame ladies. Hey, it's not me. Just reading the information now. Don't get mad at me now. Don't get mad at me. But jokes aside, it's a very important book to read. I would advise you to really study it. You know, I honestly haven't even read this enough times to really know it like I should. And part of that, man, is because it's hard to understand. You know, it's a lot of information in here, but also, man, it's kind of deep. You know what I mean? Sometimes information, I read it and it get a little too close, and I'll be like, that's a little spooky for me. Let me just put that down for a second. Let me just get back to the basics. You know what I mean? I was studying astrology for a second and really did my chart, you know, like the whole chart situation. And I started reading some of the things. I was like, man, this is, you know, because there's the sun sign, and then you have your moon sign, and then the rising or the ascendant sign. And when I was reading some of that stuff and what it meant and the other, like the houses and all of that, I said, man, you know, this is a real science. And it was a little spooky only because, well, I mean, it's not spooky. Let me not say that. But it just, you know, it can shock you a little bit on how accurate it is. Let me say that. Let me say it that way. It was very accurate. And, man, I've been on here for about 46. And I'm rambling too. So anybody else, man? Let me see. Anybody else in here? Any other questions before I close it up? I feel like that I cover. Oh, I'll do a question out of here. What's up, man?
Is it basketball for bedtime?
Yeah. Go lay down, man. Good night.
Good night. Killer Dice is basketball for bedtime.
Yeah, Elias. I feel you. Peace. Yan Islam. Yahya, peace. Fahim, peace. Amir, peace. What's that?
How do you say it again?
I don't know. Just do the best you can. If not, let me rock. Hey, I'm at work. Nah, you can't get up all up in the live situation. Back
Subscribe.
up. Back up.
How many likes did you make?
I got a few, man. Let me do my thing. Come on, man. Go. Get up out of here. My children too caught up and trying to get some shine. You know what I mean? Trying to get all up in my Moor situation. We can back up on my situation. You feel me? I'm just messing around. I'm trying to get to the questions. Nah. Let me say this real quick. Hello 47. The NOI are not bitches. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. One thing we gotta, if you may not have been tapped in earlier. You know what I'm saying? Our hands, our tongue, and our thoughts can't be harming others. We really got to work towards that. Furthermore, the NOI is an amazing organization, man. They have laid out the foundation of how we should be operating as a nation. Now, are there some critiques of some of the people? Okay. Fair. You ain't got to call them bitches, though. That's disrespectful. That's not love instead of hate. That's not love, true peace, freedom, and justice. You feel me? We got to be better than that. Even if they doing something wrong, man. And that's not easy. That ain't easy. I'm not trying to make it seem like that's just some easy thing, but you know, we really got to work towards that. Because we have to be the representation. You know what I mean? We got to be leading the way. That's the duty and the responsibility of having this. Oh, bring it back around to Spider-Man. With great power come great responsibility, baby. Oh, I thought you thought this knowledge was just gonna come for the free ski? You thought it was just all good, huh? No, what Joel was just like, yeah, y'all got it. It's all no, baby. We got a role to play. Yeah, it's tough. It ain't easy. You know what I mean? So just got to keep that in mind when we talking about people. Even if it's people that we dislike or disagree with, you know what I mean? We gotta keep righteous with our words. Let me see a couple more before I get up out of here. me see. I don't see too many more questions. I might get to this this book. Islam from Maui. What's happening, Uncle Buzz? Hey, I got a song called Maui. You should check it out. Look under Cliff Solo Maui. I don't normally like to promote my music like that, but the song is pretty fantastic. So check it out. Cliff Solo Maui. It's a vibe. I didn't see your question, Damon Jones. Hit me with it one more time. My Hebrew is cool. Yeah, peace, peace, peace. Yeah, we are not to speak radically. This is true. Yes, this is live. Yes. I'm sorry, but that's funny. It's like a big old live thing on my screen. So I gotta figure there's something on your side that says live. You feel me? Yeah, it's live, my man. Damon Jones, the correct spelling of author D.L. Grant or location of the book? I don't understand that question. The correct spelling of author D.L. Grant or location of the book? Break that down to me. I have a question, but they're inexpressible in many regards. I don't understand that, man. Just ask the question. Let me speak on that, man. We gotta cut out the spookiness, man. We gotta cut out the spookiness. Like it's way too many, Moorish people, man. It like try to be spooky with the info. I'm a regular person. This is just information. It's about our history, our culture, who we truly are. It's not some secret. Yeah, ask the question, man. If I don't know, I don't know. It's just that simple. If I know, I'll let you know what I know. You know what I mean? I'm a regular person, man. A lot of people, I feel like kind of keep it too spooky, man. Like affairs is affairs. It is special, but it's affairs at the end of the day. Same like a kufi or a yarmulke or any other headdress. I mean, it's a thing at the end of the day. The Rosicrucian record, that the 3 books that the prophet. I don't understand that question, bro. You got to break down that question, man. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, man. The Rosicrucian record, the 3 books that the prophet wrote the Circle 7 from. Well, I can clarify that. It says that he prepared the Quran. It doesn't say that he wrote the Quran. He prepared it. And it says in the beginning, I don't have it to quote precisely, but that these secrets were held back from the people by Allah. And after a certain amount of time, Allah freed the keys and the secrets and the information, and the Muslims of the East were the ones that had it. The Muslims of India, Palestine, I believe he said Egypt as well. And it's just going off of memory, but if you look into the Quran yourself and see the prologue, it says very clearly about the information. You know what I mean? So, and that's another thing that I find interesting when people try to question the validity of the Quran and say that Drew Ali plagiarized it. And, they say, well, he got that information from Levi Dowling, right? And Unto Thee I Grant. And, he just plagiarized. Those wasn't really his words. So are you saying the information is still true? It just didn't come from Drew Ali? Is that what you're saying? Or did the people that you're saying he copied from, they made it up that were Moors too? Just a question. How is it that we called ourselves black when they know we are not black as of literally? Hey man, you know, it's called slavery. It's called being enslaved. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, back to the Moorish American literature, the Moorish Science Temple American literature, Noble Drew Ali actually touches on this. When the forefathers of the Moorish Americans were first brought to this nation, they had a nationality and a name. But in order to separate them from the achievements of their fathers, a name was given them which had no connection to whatever the founders of civilization. They were nicknamed Negroes. Today in this nation, there are no such thing as Negroes in this sense. Just why so many of the intelligent Americans will continue to cling to this nickname is hard to understand. My man Drew Ali said it's hard to understand. I don't know, man. I'm a prophet and I'm telling the folks, hey, man, we ain't Negroes. And they telling me, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I mean, you sound like you know what you're talking about, but that hat kind of funny, though. You feel me? You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't know. To answer your question is difficult, man. I don't know. We've been miseducated. So what is our job in regaining and securing those arts and putting them to our national benefit? Doing the work. Did Noble Drew Ali use the UCC? I would ask you to look up when the UCCs were created. Let's start with that. That's another thing, Omar, that I found interesting. When I was growing up and we got played Roots, I remember specifically the whole thing about Kunta being Kunta because he didn't want to be called Toby. Right? So there was something to be said. There was something important about the name that he had versus the name they was trying to put on him. And yet when we say, let go of the name that was put on us and take back the name that we've had, they say, no. Don't do that. You tripping. And it's not European people telling me that. That's the craziest part about all of this. I have never had a European person ever come up to me and say, no, you're not a Moor. How dare you? Why, of course not. I've never had it happen. Not a once. But you know who does consistently? Moors. But, you know, that's a whole nother, I don't even want to get into all of that. Man, who are the ancient Berbers? Moors, yes. Our ancestors, yes. Berbers, the ancient Berbers, the Amazon, yes. Our ancestors, yes. We all connected, yes, sir, yes. We go back 50,000s of years, hundreds of thousands. You know what I mean? Because man was never, the time never was when man was not. Wise man once said, somewhere around there. Let me get a couple more questions in, then we cut a show, because I gotta get to the little ones, make sure they sleep and all of that. Do we got any more questions in the house? Any more questions? And then I'll close out with a couple from this. Why do we fight to death on something we clearly know, but we hate to be called out of our name? Anything? Again, I don't know about the name stuff. It's amazing. Yeah, Kunta was speaking Arabic. Yeah. It was just, you know, it's a lot, man. I have this documentary. I had this documentary of Islam in America. It was made by Muslim brothers from the East. You might be able to find it on YouTube if you just type in Islam in America documentary. And one of the things they was talking about was, I believe it was Alabama. I need to I'll fact check this one, but I'm almost positive it was Alabama. Yeah, it was some. It was. I want to say Alabama. We're gonna roll with Alabama just for the sake of conversation. But it was a school in Alabama, college, that was a library. It was a. I want to say maybe it was a library, and it got burnt down. Big fire, right? They were able to save some of the books, and one of the books was a Quran in Arabic, like a Quran from the East. But this was back in the 1800s or something like that, 1800s, somewhere around there. And I was just like, wait a minute, like, hold on now. How was that over here? I thought it, wait, oh goodness. So, you know, when it comes to Islam, you know what I mean, and the culture and Moorish culture, you know what I mean, you find out that it's been around for a long time, and not just in North Africa, but all around the world. Southern America, North America, South America, Central America, Asia, India, islands, you know what I mean, all over the world, because we've been all over the world. I don't see any more questions. So if nobody got a last question for me, then I'm gonna just read a couple out of this Quran questions and call it a day. I appreciate y'all tapping in though. That's for real. This is pretty cool, man. Let's see. Appreciate it. I'm just looking for some questions. Want questions right time. Yeah, I think we'll go with this one here. This question number 31. It says, what is the modern name for the Moabites? The answer is Moroccans. Then it says, where is the Moroccan Empire? Northwest of Mexum. And then it says, what is the modern name for Mexum? Africa. So those three questions is actually giving us a whole lot of information. And let me try to kind of tie it all together. What is the modern name for the Moabites? Moroccans. Why is that important? Because Moorish Americans, Moors, so-called black people, are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. So we're connected to Moroccans, and Moroccans are connected to Moabites. So, okay, so you see the line, boom, Moors, Moroccans, Moabites. Ancient, modern, right now. Right now is Moors. Back then was Moroccans. Anciently, Moabites. We following? Cool. And then it breaks down, where is the Moroccan Empire? Northwest of Mexum. It says the modern name for Mexum is Africa. So now we're showing you there was an ancient name for this land that we know as Africa before we called it Africa. It's Mexum, and it shows us where our people, our ancestors were, where the empire was. Northwest Africa is where the Moroccan Empire was. And then when you look into history, you see there was this Moroccan or Moorish empire going on. But when you got to piece it together because it's kind of broken up into little pieces. But Umayyad or the Umayyad empire or dynasty or caliphate, look up that in history. UMMA Umayyad. UMMAYAD. I believe that's how you spell it. And then also the Abbasid Caliphate. ABB Abbasid. ABBASID. Abbasid Caliphate or Abbasid Empire. Look into that. And then you'll start to understand it may be under a different name. You have to dig deep for that to see that it's called the Moroccan Empire, but it's there. And then if you look on a map, Northwest Africa. This right here is exactly where Moors was at. That empire, it was ruling for 700 years, something like that. Yes. So like this book, and this was what? 3 questions? You know what I mean? This was 3 questions. Very simple, but when you start looking into the history, then you can see the connections and you see just how profound these questions and answers are. Because I didn't even get into the Moabite aspect of it, because then now you're looking into the Bible. Now you're like, oh, well, now I got a different perspective on the Bible. Now I'm looking into it from a historical aspect. And you say, well, where were Moabites in actual history? Did they exist? Oh, snap, they did. You know, on the map. And then you see, oh, well, Moab used to be right here. And then you realize in the Quran when it said we got permission from the people in Egypt, we got kicked up out of there, boom, we traveled west, you realize this is just traveling in history. Boom. This is what happened over time. And then you say, well, you just talking. I mean, well, you can't prove the Moabites got anything to do with us today. And then you find out that there's a Moab, Utah. Oh, shit. Oh, my goodness. What are we going to do now? Look it up. Don't believe me, as I said. Don't believe me. Moabite stone. Don't believe me. Look it up for yourself. Then you realize Moabites, as it said, are connected to the Canaanites. So then you got to look up Canaanite history and the land of Canaan. And then you realize that the land of Canaan was the ancient name for Palestine. Then you realize, oh my goodness, we connected to the Palestinians. Oh, wow. So they talking about us and I didn't even know it like that, yo. Yeah. And they doing the same thing to the Palestinians that they did to us. Taking over that land, it was called Palestine, and naming it something else. Saying those people, they wasn't even there. It's just an empty place, and then some people came there and built it up. Almost like discovering America. Hey, now, hey, I'm not making it up. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to look it up for yourself so you can see for yourself. Last thing on that. What was the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a Moabitess, a Moabite. Ruth is in the Bible. Look it up. Then you see that Jesus is connected to Ruth. That make Jesus a Moabite, a.k.a. a Moroccan, a.k.a. a Moor, a.k.a. black, so-called. Yep. Yep. That part. All right, I'm done. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let's see if got any other questions before I get up out of here. I appreciate y'all tapping in. For real, for real. I hope that in this that you got something that was important, you know what I mean, that you look into the information and don't believe me, you know what I mean? Don't just say, oh man, that sound good what I'm gonna be talking about, so I'm gonna just repeat it. Now look it up for yourself so you know and you can stand on it for yourself. And most importantly, because this is like, you know, to me, let me close out with this. To me, us standing up and being ourselves is really more revolutionary than, you know, trying to go grab a gun and, you know, like the painted illusion, you know, the fantasy idea of a revolution. I get it. You know what I mean? I get the appeal. But one, ain't nobody doing that. Two, it's a lot of violence. I don't want to lose nobody. And three, I think it's harder to be able to stand up on love. Honestly, when you don't even need a weapon. Making the enemy your oppressor, making them fold with no weapon, just with your mind. And it's not malicious. We're not trying to dominate anybody. We simply saying we're not blacks, Negroes, or colors, or African Americans, or Moors, Moorish Americans specifically. That, just saying that is more revolutionary than no touch it, no beat, no that. To me, just my opinion. But I'm getting sidetracked. Thank y'all for tapping in. Should we say that we are Moorish Americans? Yeah, no. Chase money. We should say we're Moorish Americans. Definitely. Moorish American. American is a continent, not a nationality. Peace to everybody. Yeah, knowledge is far greater power. Yeah, but power is an illusion. Power is an illusion. It's really study the Quran to find out. I'll tell you that. Peace. Much love.